Did you know that 9 experienced hikers once fled their tent in the middle of a frozen mountain night? Without coats, without boots, and without a clear reason? Their shelter was cut open from the inside. Some walked calmly into temperatures cold enough to kill in minutes. Others were found with bones crushed as if by a massive force, but with no wounds on their skin. No signs of a fight, no clear explanation, and an official conclusion that explained nothing at all. What happened on Dyatlov Pass wasn't just an accident, it was one impossible night, and the mountains have never told the truth about it. In late January 1959, 10 hikers set out on a winter expedition across the northern Ural Mountains. They were students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, an experienced and respected trek leader. The group wasn't reckless. They were certified for high-difficulty winter expeditions. They carried cameras, journals, maps, and enough supplies for weeks. Their goal was Mount Otorten, a remote peak whose name, in the local Mansi language, loosely translates to "don't go there." Before reaching the mountains, one hiker turned back due to illness. His decision would save his life. The remaining 9 continued into deep wilderness, a region with no roads, no settlements, and almost no human presence. On February 1st, the group made a decision that would later haunt investigators. Instead of descending into a forested valley for shelter, they pitched their tent high on the slope of Kolatshakal, a mountain whose name translates to Dead Mountain. Weather conditions worsened rapidly. Strong winds, blowing snow, near zero visibility. Their final diary entries are calm, practical, almost mundane. One photograph taken that evening shows the hikers laughing, bundled in heavy clothing, unaware that none of them would survive the night. Sometime after midnight, something happened. Something that forced all 9 hikers to abandon their tent in a state of terror. When search teams finally reached the campsite weeks later, they found the tent partially buried in snow. It was slashed open, not from the outside, but from within. Inside were boots, coats, food, money, and equipment. Everything they would have needed to survive. Footprints led away from the tent, downhill toward a forest. Some prints showed bare feet, others socks. A few wore only one boot. There were no signs of a struggle, no evidence of another group, no avalanche debris large enough to explain the panic. Just 9 sets of footprints, calmly, almost orderly, walking away from safety into deadly cold. At the edge of the forest, beneath a large cedar tree, searchers found the remains of a small fire. Nearby lay the bodies of 2 hikers. They were barefoot, dressed only in underwear. Their hands were burned and raw, as if they had tried desperately to climb the tree. Branches above were broken up to 5 meters high. Between the tree and the tent, 3 more bodies were discovered, frozen mid-stride, as if trying to return to camp. Their expressions were calm, no defensive wounds, no clear cause for sudden terror. The official cause of death for all 5, hypothermia. But questions were already mounting. Why leave the tent? Why no clothes? Why separate? The remaining 4 hikers were not found until May, when the snow began to melt. They were discovered in a ravine, buried beneath 4 meters of compacted snow. Their injuries were shocking. One had massive chest fractures, ribs crushed inward. Another suffered a fractured skull. The force required was comparable to a high-speed car crash, yet their skin showed no external bruising or cuts. One woman, Lyudmila Dubinina, was missing her tongue, along with parts of her lips and facial tissue. Soft tissue damage that could not be easily explained by scavenging animals alone. Their cause of death was listed as fatal trauma, but investigators could not identify what caused it. No weapon, no footprints, no evidence of a fight. Just broken bodies in the silence of the snow. Soviet authorities opened an investigation almost immediately and closed it just as quickly. The official conclusion stated the hikers died due to a compelling natural force. No further explanation was given. Case files were sealed. Photographs disappeared. Witnesses were discouraged from speaking. Years later, declassified documents revealed troubling details. Some clothing showed unusual radiation levels. Witnesses reported glowing orange orbs in the sky that night. Nearby man-sea hunters described strange lights and deep rumbling sounds. Yet no evidence ever directly connected these reports to the hikers' deaths. The mystery deepened, but answers remained out of reach. Avalanches, military weapons testing, infrasound-induced panic, rare weather phenomena, secret experiments. Each theory explains some details, but never all. Avalanches don't account for the intact tent poles. Military tests don't explain the orderly footprints. Natural forces don't easily explain internal injuries without external trauma. Every answer leaves something behind, something missing, and the mountain remains silent. Today, the area is officially named Dyatlov Pass, in memory of its leader. Hikers still visit, researchers still debate, families still wait for closure that never comes. The diaries stop abruptly, the photographs end mid-roll. The night itself remains unrecorded. 9 people walked into the cold, and something convinced them that staying inside their tent was more dangerous than running into certain death. Whatever happened on Dead Mountain that night did not leave a clear signature, only absence. And sometimes the most disturbing mysteries are not those with monsters or conspiracies, but those where the truth is simply missing.